Hello, we're back again with another sales brochure catalog. So here we have the 1986 Ford Escort EXP book. Now, so this is the first year of the body change. All the prior years, 82 to 85, they were what we refer to as the frog eye cars. So that was the front end compared to this. Here we go, even better example. As you go from this to this. But 86 was the first year of that. 85 and a half kind of marked the the body change of the Escort. They had a front end change to that of what was previously right here, this. So when they changed the Escort front end from that to that, they had also changed the EXP front end from that to that. So it was an effort on a few fronts. One, made the body slightly aerodynamic. Maybe these EXPs might not be more aerodynamic than the frog eye cars, but the Escorts did become a little bit more aerodynamic. They actually had headlights that were molded. You know, those lenses are molded versus glass sealed beam rectangle elements that go inside plastic headlight buckets assemblies. So there was that. They also had to accommodate, they had switched to new engines in these guys, 1.9s, that sat taller, and because of that, the hood needed to be a little taller for the same air box that the 1.9s were using. So it was, when they had switched to the 1.9s, almost, for our terms today, almost everything underneath was identical, except for the block being cast at about 1/4 of an inch taller. I mean, means that the hood had to be taller. So they had raised the hood in the center here, and then by changing the EXP to what the new Escort was, they were now sharing parts. So Ford only had to make one quarter panel, and it would fit the standard Escort, the EXP, and the Escort GT. Same thing with the turn markers up front, the headlights, high shadow, the grille, the hood, and then the Escorts, all the normal Escorts, they still had these chrome steel front bumpers, and I think the rears were aluminum. Maybe I got it backwards. But all the GT and EXP cars would have this new molded front bumper. But anywho, that was the mega change, so we'll see what this book talks about it. So first page over, we talk about the EXP, and this is kind of the first time that we actually go into depth of what the sport coupe versus the luxury coupe is. We see it mentioned before in 84 and 85, and when it comes to the 83 LN7, we actually do see these terms, but the cars as a whole weren't exactly listed as that. When you go to the model trim comparison charts, where you can see what kind of options you can get underneath each trim of car, these weren't really listed here consistently. A lot of times it was just package numbers like 301B, 303C, things like that. But so they narrowed it down to just the luxury coupe and the sport coupe when they had the 86 through 88 EXPs. It was a way of, what the company would call trimming the fat, but they simplified and they reduced a lot of expenses by just combining a lot of things and only offering two. So we have the luxury coupe. This is the standard car. And that's just all standard features. The sport coupe, that's where you actually get some additional options. That's where you get things like the or all of these will have the 1.9 EFI high output. That's the one with the sequential injection, versus these, all of these were carbureted or had the CFI. And then there's another number of other special options. Like you can see, it's in 1986, the base model EXP still doesn't have a passenger side door mirror, but we do on the Sport Coupe. It has more options. As that right-hand mirror wasn't mandated until 87, 89, right? Or 87, 88, I mean. But as far as these two cars goes, there's a few other main feature differences. Like all these Sport Coupes had aluminum wheels. The base models never had fog lights unless they were optioned for it. These always would. And we get a nice photo of what is a luxury coupe, steel wheels, and no fog lights. Next page over, fog lights. So we have a Sport Coupe. And I believe, see pillar panels on all these for 86 to 88. Every single one says EXP. So, yep, like I said, Sport Coupe, that's what it talks about here. Gives you some specifications. Yep, 15-inch tires on 8-spoke cast aluminum wheels. Yep. So alloy wheels, slightly larger tires. There's some sports involved. Interiors. The interiors of these guys are pretty interesting. Most of them, by 86, most of it was just cloth. I don't even know if you could get vinyl interiors in the EXPs anymore. But this one, you can see cruise control. It's got a brand new wheel for the year. None of the prior years of EXPs had that steering wheel. Otherwise, everything else in here is largely the same as what you'd find in 85. And aside from the shift boot, everything in here is what you'd find in 84. It talks about more interior stuff, gives a few specs. Yep, 7-inch lawn seat track. It's the first time we see a number associated with that. Cargo capacity of 31.5 cubic feet. If you watch my Mercury Allen 7 videos, you'll see that that number has been changed multiple times. Sometimes it would say 29 something, sometimes 33 something, sometimes 32, sometimes 31. That's just been all over the place. Here we actually see it repeated. If you watch my other videos, you'll see that that's a rare circumstance. Got another luxury coupe here. Oh, that's because that's what it's talking about. So it talks about things like high fuel economy, because that's what these ones are. If you actually had the CFI that came in 87, this is 86. But if you had the CFI that was around in like 87, 40 miles per gallon would be a pretty common figure, depending on what transmission you had. And it shows some interior options, real plush vinyl interior. Or not vinyl interior, cloth seats, but this one actually might have a vinyl door card. Then we talk about performance as a whole. We have Sport Coupe on the right, with electronic mirrors, electric adjustable mirrors. You can tell that because these are square instead of the. We'll go back a page further. Yep, so are these electric adjustable mirrors. Oh, even these ones are. That's interesting. Here we go, and here's the plain adjustable mirrors. They're a round bullet shape. So these have a little joystick about this spot in the door card, and then you move that around, it moves this mirror. All these square ones, they're all electric. There's again, the little joystick. You turn it left, and now you can adjust the left mirror. Turn it right, you can adjust the left or the right mirror, and it's all completely electronic. So the performance, none of it's really changed. It's all the same suspension as years prior. really same tires or tire sizes as years prior. The engine has changed. We're now up to a 1.9 liter. Like I said, that was a big difference when we went from 1.6 to 1.9. We've turned the engine into non-interference. Should the timing belt break, your engine won't. Unlike the 1.6s, if that belt breaks, your engine's typically kaput because your pistons are going to hit your valves. It does talk about the new engine though, the 1.9 EFI high output. Performance rating is 108 horsepower and 114 foot-pounds of torque. This is the highest performance engine aside from the turbo model. The turbo model is 120, this one's 108. All other engines are somewhere around 100 horsepower or less. We talked about how EFI performs and how the carburetor in the luxury model just works fine. Because it does. It just works fine. Talks about fuel economy. For the 86, you can have 27 to 34 miles per gallon. And that's with the standard carbureted 5-speed. And here it actually gives some specifications because there's a few different transmissions you can have. 86, as far as all EXPs go, not a single one had the EFI high output 5-speed. Or, sorry, not a single one of these EFI high outputs was an automatic. We did learn recently that the Escorts, however, could be EFI high output automatic. And when you look into each year, we found out that in, I think, 87, there were only 8 or 9 of those cars. There were only 8 or 9 of these automatic Escort GTs. Pretty rare, but you'll never find that as a stock EXP because they never came that way. Here it starts talking about some of the equipments and the options that you can list. And it actually first gives you a comparison of the 2 trim models. So on the left dots here we have luxury coupe, and on the right dots are our sport coupe. So you can see the carbureted engine with the 5-speed, that's only for the base model. The EFI high output with 5-speed, that's only on the sport coupe. It goes on and on. Handling suspension, including rear sway bar. The 86 was the first year for rear sway bar. You'd see that on all the Escort GTs and all the EXP sport coupes. Keep going down. Manual rack and pinion steering. You only see it on the base model. The sport model has power. Yep. Battery, that really doesn't matter at this point. None of these have the original battery. Batteries only live for about 10 years max in cars. Tire options, again, if you're running on tires that are over 12 years old, you're a fool. And you're going to eventually ruin your car. But then some interior options, some different wheels and radio options. A lot of interior stuff. There's the fog lamps. You'll only have those on the sport cars. Left-hand remote mirrors you'll find on the luxury coupe. But here we go. All sport coupes have the dual electric remote mirrors. So if your EXP never had a passenger mirror, it was never a sport coupe. And if it only ever had the manual remote mirrors, it was never a sport coupe. There we start listing more of the options kind of things. Like before it was standard features, now it's options. You get everything from sunroof, what's that say, rear defrost? That should have been standard. Rear window defroster E. That's just so weird. Or at least something I'm not used to. All the Frog Eye cars, rear window defrost was standard. I don't believe you could ever get these without rear defrost. That was one of the special features that the EXPs had over the Escorts. The Escorts, all that stuff was optional. You had to pay extra for. Talks about a lot of safety stuff. Some optional anti-theft, some normal specifications, where you can see that it only stands, oh, that 50 inches tall? No. That is not right. I mean, these cars are sitting on taller tires. These tires are slightly taller than what you'd find on like the 82, 83 cars. But your 82 EXPs, they stand at 42 inches tall. That makes them only 2 inches taller than a Ford GT. If that put, GT40, if that puts things into spec, they're into perception. Here we actually list all of the available colors, which are extremely limited. But that's how it goes. If you've seen my other videos, 83 was the most option available year for EXPs and Escorts. Every year after that, it's been less and less and less and less, as they've been trying to cut the costs, keep the cars cheaper for people to buy, and as they slowly phase these out and work in new models to replace the Escorts and EXPs. But so we have black, we have a bright red, which is that right there, what you see on the around the sunroof. The Midnight Regatta blue. This one's really struggling to come up on camera, but it does exist. Maybe I can find that here in the book, unless all they showed was black. That'd be sad. Black's overrated. Here we go. This is the blue, and again, it's not coming up on camera very well, but this right here is the actual blue that you'd be seeing on the car. But yeah, that's sadly all they show for blue, and it does not come up on film at all worth a darn. It looks black. You have to take my word for it that it's just not. It should look more like this little girl's blue leggings here. But it also comes in white, or slightly off-white, however you'd like to call it. But that's pretty much the most white that these cars came in. You get a silver, metallic silver, you get a slightly darker metallic red. All these clear coat metallics, they come at extra optional costs. Then sand beige metallic. Here's where we can actually see some of these options here. Cargo area was optional unless you had the Sport Coupe. That's how it got standard. Right hand visor mirror. Oh, okay, so that would be the sun visor. Right hand had a lighted mirror in the Sport Coupe. You actually could have cruise control in both. Tilting wheel in both. Tilting steering wheel is extremely rare. If you ever come across one of these, or any of these. I have yet to find one in the 15 cars I've had. Automatic only available in the base model. Everything else is available either way. Color combos. So this is a kind of fun part where we can actually see what kind of combinations you could have. As far as the interior goes, you can see that there's only 4 colors of interior, and there's only 7 colors of exterior, so there's not too many combinations you can have. What's really cool though is if you had a black 86, you could have any of these 4 interior colors. Same if you had white. If you had if you had red, the metallic red or the silver, you could have 3 of those interior colors. And if you had the beige or dark blue, you'd have 2 colors as option. It's pretty neat. But that's really all there is for these, and it's just not much, because by this point these cars were kind of going into the back corner of Ford. They weren't advertising these like they were in 82 or 83. After when the 84 came out with such high praise from Ford, they were kind of let down in the sales department, and it was even less in 85. 85 was looking even more drastic, so they changed up the Escorts and EXPs for 86. And even then, that brought a small resurgence, but it was still nothing compared to the first year 82 sales. So that's all there is for 86. keep an eye out for my next video. We'll look over 87. Thanks.